Okay, welcome. It is Nigeria Fans Forum. It is where we talk all things African football. Once again, I welcome you. My name is Femi. So much to talk about. So much has gone down as regards football on the continent. Of course, we begin from Ghana as usual, where, of course, over the weekend, DDIU missed a penalty for Nottingham Forest in their 3-1 defeat to Tottenham. And that, again, was reminiscent of the crucial penalty he missed for the Black Stars at the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Remember, it was very costly, and of course, that eventually, of course, was part of what led to the exit of the Black Stars at the tournament. And it trended in Ghana after that game, all because of that. So I'm sure going forward, who is going to be the penalty taker for the Black Stars will be a crucial decision that I think Chris Hughton we have to make. On that note, once again, I welcome James Agberebi is here together. We'll be doing this today. James, you're welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, Femi. Always a pleasure.
All right. So to our fans around the world, we say thank you so kindly for always sticking with us. So together, we're going to do this together today. James, of course, I'm sure you must have seen the list released by Chris Hughton for Ghana's 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Angola. And I think one thing that gladdened my heart was when I saw at least Joseph Painstil returning to that fold. Remember at the 2020 FIFA World Cup when his name was missing on Addo's final 26 squad, it led to a lot of debate in Ghana, but at least the young man is banned. I've also saw Ransford also back in the fold. So I think Chris Hughton is trying to put together everyone, at least after then, he will now be able to sieve to decide which player he's going to work with going forward. Because particularly for Painstil, he's been very fantastic for Genk this season.
Yes, a good one for Painstil because when he was dropped from the World Cup squad, we were all surprised because he was turning out top level performances for Genk. But to everyone's surprise, he was dropped for the World Cup. But the good thing is he didn't allow that to deter him. He went back, buckled down, and started scoring goals. So it's as if the exit of Onuachu kind of opened the door for him. So he has shown that Onuachu's absence will not be a problem for Genk. So he kind of took up the challenge and he has not looked back since then. So good one for him. I think he should just put the World Cup disappointment behind him and focus on the AFCON qualifiers. And I'm confident that the Black Stars will qualify for the AFCON. But the most important thing is for him to be given the chance, for him to have been invited now. I think he has the opportunity now to do well and so that we'll make the final squad for the next year's AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire. So what better way to silence your critic? Because I know a lot of people like back the decision to drop him, but I think he has proven that he's a top quality player and he deserves to be in the squad.
Okay, James, I don't know if I should say surprisingly, there was no local player in the squad released by Chris Hughton. And remember, Danny Afriye and Ibrahim Danladi were the usual two players who made that list. And now Afriye has gone to Zurich. So at least that is settled. Then for Ibrahim Danladi, there's been a lot of questions regarding his ability in goal, particularly in his area ability to claim the ball. So some people in Ghana they are actually claiming that those could be the reason why he's not in the squad. But I think in terms of the goalkeeping situation, I think another crucial decision that Chris Hughton will have to contend with, James, is who is going to be his number one going forward. Wallacott is back, and we saw what Lawrence ati-zigi did at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. So for you, who would you think Chris Hughton should work with?
Based on what we saw at the World Cup, I think it's a no-brainer. ati-zigi should still keep the number one position. But by the time you start retweeting, the goalkeeping situation department is a very sensitive one. It's not something you just put anybody there. You just have to be consistent. ati-zigi showed us that he's a very good goalkeeper at the World Cup. So why not allow him to continue? Then let wallacott fight for his place. So what I think they still have time to. He still has time to check out the goalkeeper because after the World Cup, though we've not really seen much of ati-zigi and the rest, but with what ati-zigi did at the World Cup, for me, it should be the number one because there should be that consistency. That synergy should be with the goalkeeper and the defender. But by the time you start rotating again, I mean, it's like going back to square one. So for me, ati-zigi should man the post for the Black Stars. Then talking about no home-based players making the squad, well, that's the Hughton's call. He's the man in charge now. So whatever decision you take, you just have to live with it. So the players he invited, he believe these are the guys who can do it for the Black Stars. So let's just give him the free hand to do what he believes will be the best for the Black Stars and for Ghana. If at the end of the day he doesn't perform, you all remember what how we went through the criticism and everything. So because he's somebody that was not born in Ghana, it doesn't mean he's immune from criticism or expectation is very expectation is high for the Black Stars to do well, and he has been saddled with responsibility. So he just has to hit the ground running now. So because the players are there already, they've been doing well. We've seen Kudus, we've seen Papi, we've seen Painstil. All these guys are doing well in their various club Europe. So he has material now. So it's now left for him to put this team together and do well against Angola.
Okay, because even if I were Christian, I'm not sure if I would want to pick anyone from the Bet Power Premier League, because you've seen there's been back and forth between the stakeholders in the league and of course the GFA. Remember we talked last week about the GFA accusing the clubs of not doing enough to market the league. So there's been so much back and forth. I even talk about the exodus of the players from the league, the quality. I think that would just perhaps maybe get Hughton irritated to some extent and just say, okay, maybe for now he wouldn't want to take chances with anyone in the Web Premier League. Okay, James, let's quickly take a trip to Egypt now. Remember, over the weekend, the African Under-20 Championship ended with Senegal again. We've talked about Senegal over and over regarding their exploit in football over the past few years. And now they are the Africa Soccer Beach champions. They are the AFCON Senior Players champion. They had, of course, the Under-20 champion. I remember at the 2022 Women's AFCON that was hosted in Morocco, they got to the quarterfinals, James. I think the Senegalese FA need to sit every one of us, particularly in the sub-Sahara part of Africa, and teach us what the secret to their recent success.
Well, it doesn't. We've said this thing before. When an FA of a country decides to sit down and take a back step and kind of relaunch. I mean, this is the kind of results you see. It's not like I always say, all these their success. It doesn't come as by accident. It's something that's been on the rise. The Teranga line of the senior team, they've been African one team for like over many years now. They've maintained that position, and winning the AFCON didn't come as a surprise. They deserved it. They were in the final in 2019, and to show you how good they are, they made it to the final in the next edition, and they eventually won it. The Chan team, they became Chan AFCON winners for the very first time. They are holding sway in the beach soccer. Their women team, unfortunately, they couldn't make it to the World Cup, but that just goes to show that they're making progress. So for me, it's just left for the other African country to sit back and admit that okay, they're not doing well. So why not try and recognize, go back to the drawing board and reestablish yourself. Remember the 90s when the Super Eagles held sway. They were the best team on the continent. Nobody came close. We saw the likes of Nwankwo Kanu, Toypeba, Emmanuel Amunike, Rashid Ekini. They were just winning African Footballer of the Year, left, right, and center. It was like a Nigerian thing, So there's nothing bad if you decide to take a step back and relaunch yourself and just accept that, okay, you're not doing well. Why not put one or two things in place and start doing again? Nigeria is a big country. Nobody says that we cannot do what Senegal are doing now. It's about like a fees, So this is their time, and they are showing the whole world that they have the talent and they have what it takes to rule Africa, and that is what they are doing. And nobody can say they don't deserve it. Remember, in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was Cameroon. At some point it was Egypt. So everybody has their turn. So now left for the other African country to sit back, know where they are not doing well, and work hard, and they'll get to the level where Senegal are now.
Okay, I read an article over the weekend, and an African journalist, talked about that these are fruit of 10 years of planning, of deliberate planning, of deliberate investment in infrastructure for Senegal. Okay, James, the journalist said these are the fruit of 10 years of planning, of deliberate infrastructural investment in infrastructure, and of course in human capacity in Senegal football. So he was saying that people should not just think that it is a flash in the pan. James, you talked about the indomitable Lions of Cameroon, how they dominated, in the early 2000s. And of course, over the weekend in Cameroon, it clocked exactly 1 year since Rigobert took over as the coach of the Indomitable Lions. And people are saying, where is the scorecard? I remember the controversy that surrounded his appointment after because of Samuel Eto'o. And they said it wasn't the best for the Indomitable Lions. And he came into the fray because he was a former teammate of Samuel Eto'o, the Fecafoot president. And of course, there's been war of words between Samuel Eto'o and the local league management because of subventions that accrues to them, that gets to them from the Fecafoot. James, but let's talk about the global song, James. I think the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier, they have one coming up later this month against Namibia. I think the qualifiers and of course the tournament itself is going to be defining moment for Rigobert Song's career as a coach of the Indomitable Lions.
Yes. One thing I've come to understand about Cameroon is you don't underrate them. There are sometimes that, but I see them as the Italy of Africa. When you don't expect, that is when they will strike. You remember how they stopped Nigeria from winning the AFCON in 2000, how they became champions again in 2002. In 2015 or 2017, nobody saw them becoming champions when they met Egypt and they won. So for Rigobert Song, at the last World Cup, he also what is capable of. He became the first African coach to lead an African team to beat Brazil at the World Cup. So for me, they didn't do badly at the World Cup.
Brazil
They didn't
team,
qualify
right?
from the group stage. It doesn't matter. The record is already there. They won't say Cameroon defeated the team C of Brazil. They defeated Brazil and the record stands. So I think they can build up from there. They were not disgraced at the World Cup. Beating almighty Brazil, 5-time champions of the World Cup, and it's no mean feat. So I'm not writing them off. The most important thing is for the players to be fit and firing. It's unfortunate that Onana is no more with the team. One of the best goalkeepers in Africa, but unfortunately he has retired. Let's just hope that it's a temporary one because he's still doing well for Inter Milan. And Guisa in Napoli is doing very, very well for runaway league leader at Napoli. What is it called? Vincent Abubakar is still firing a lot of cylinders. So for me, Rigobert Song has the materials and they should just allow him to continue with the team. Look at the qualifiers. I know that they have what it takes to overcome Namibia. And going into the AFCON, I'm telling you, they're going to be one of the biggest teams to look out for. You don't write Cameroon off just like that. They're a very dangerous team. And I believe that they're going to be one of the teams to be feared at the AFCON. Let's just see what they do in the qualifiers. I see them qualifying automatically for this AFCON. And from there, I think Rigobert Song will start, having his team that he wants. He has the players already, so I believe he has what it takes to take them far. So what he needs now is just support from the FA, and I see them going far.
Okay, James, let's talk about something that's brewing in African football. Recently, the South Africa Football Association, they invited Pelugi Colina, remember the head of FIFA referees committee, to come inspect the facility in the country because South Africa, they are looking at using the VAR in the South Africa Premier League. But the debate that has generated is that now in the upcoming qualifiers, 24 countries in Africa do not even have the facility good enough to host their home games. So 3 African countries will be playing in South Africa. 10, a whooping 10 will be playing in Morocco. Now, do you think Africa is ripe for the VAR? Because we have lots of issues. We have human capacity issues. And it is one of the requirements that FIFA actually put on the table before they can even approve the use of the VAR, apart from other issues. We have integrity issues even when it comes to refereeing. Do you think Africa is ripe for VAR?
I mean, I think the only African countries who are ripe for the VAR, I would say the North Africans and South Africa, because they have the facility. We've seen different occasions how South Africa had to step in to host major tournaments, how the North Africans have been kind of, I say, begged to host a major tournament. So they are the only the ones, the harmful, the ones who are, I feel, have the capacity. Even in the established countries, the developed ones, they still struggle to use the VR. Not to talk of Africa, where most of the teams they are still struggling. Even imagine some teams they are not going to play on their own turf because of bad facility. They have to
24 African
imagine that.
countries.
So what does that tell you? That they are not. If you cannot put facilities in place, physical ones that we entertain games. I mean, is it VAR? VAR that even the advanced country they are still struggling with it. Just imagine what will happen if we have it in most African countries. Do they have the facility? Do they have what it takes to maintain all those things? And even the integrity part that you said too. I mean, you know what how we do our own things there. So for me, I think they're not ready. They should just, if it means using it in major tournaments for now, fine. You know that the host have to prepare very well for it. But for qualifiers and the rest, I think it's going to be very, very difficult. So just try and minimize whatever issue that will arise in games. But for now, I think that VR thing should be put aside because I don't see us as people who are ready for it.
The GFA's communications director, Henry Asante Twam, has informed that the Black Stars will honor the memory of Christian Atsu in the both legs of their 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Angola. And James, of course, Thomas Partey has finally reacted to his comparison with Casemiro. And remember, Arsenal fans, I'm sure, I don't know if you are part of them, they are not happy over his color for the Black Stars of Ghana for the upcoming qualifiers. James, let's look at African Player of the Week quickly. I think this is very, very crucial. We had some African players doing wonders over the weekend. We had Mohamed Kudus, he got a goal and also an assist. We had Terry Murphy, who also got a goal and an assist. But James, this Nigerian guy, Gift Urban, is doing wonderfully well. He scores 4 goals for Genk in their 6-2 victory over Waregem. I don't know, James. These are 3 African players of the week shortlist or nominees. These 3, who do you think is deserving to be named African Star of the Week?
They are all deserving, but I will just go for Gift Urban because there's somebody who's still coming up. He has never been capped by Nigeria, but I think the way he's going now, I think attention will be focused on him. And for someone to score 4 goals in European league, fine, the Belgian league is not one of the top 5 in Europe, but it's not a league where you just shove aside. You know, they've churned out world-class players in the past. So for an African player to score 4 goals in one game, I mean, just to show that the guy is doing something fantastic. So for me, like I said, the 3 players that deserve to be player of the week, but I will go with Gift Urban, somebody who just coming up and proving his worth. And if he continues like this, I don't see him staying long in Genk because you know this top European side, when they start scouting for players and they see talent, you know, they always swoop in and they only have the money to try around. So Gift moving to maybe a decent league. I'm not saying the Belgian league is not a decent one or a very good league, but you know there are leagues and there are leagues. You know, so if he continues like this, I don't see him staying long in Genk.
Okay, James Ashimeru, thank you for coming through on the show today.
Thank you very much, Femi. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
The time is not on our side. We wanted to look at the result for the week 21 Betfair Ghana Premier League, but hopefully on Thursday, of course, we'll be coming to deal extensively with that. The league in Nigeria has not resumed because of the election that have been postponed. So we'll get our fingers crossed as far as that is concerned. But the organizers of the league in Nigeria, the Interim Management Committee, they've said that no matter the circumstance, the league will resume on the 26th of this month. So thank you for staying through with us wherever you have joined us from today on the show. Australia, Canada, Ghana, everywhere around the world. We say Thank you so much. So please click on the notification button to get our video as soon as they drop. Please share our videos to your friends and loved ones. Until next time, I remain Ashalolu Afemi. We'll see you. Bye for now.